There are moments in your life that split things in half. Before. After. Mine was a Tuesday night. I was in bed, scrolling through TikTok, thinking about whether to reheat the same sad spaghetti for the third time this week. I had work at 6 a.m., no clean socks, and an inbox full of, per my last email, messages waiting for me tomorrow. And then my phone buzzed. It was from cousin Danielle, someone I hadn't heard from in months. We'd never been close, just enough for the occasional comment on Facebook posts and vague, "We should catch up." Lies. The message was short. No context. "Wait, are you not coming to the dinner tonight? LOL, they said you were finally showing up." At first, I just stared at it. Dinner? Tonight? I wasn't invited to anything. Maybe it was meant for someone else? I typed out, "Dinner? Send it." 3 dots. Then nothing. A minute passed. Another message came. "OMG. I wasn't supposed to say anything. Sorry. I thought you were already there." My heart did that weird drop it does when your gut knows something you haven't accepted yet. "What dinner?" I asked again. "Where?" she replied. "You really didn't know? It's the usual monthly thing. At Uncle Dave's. Like always." Like always. I put my phone down, sat up in bed, and just stared into space. Monthly thing? At Uncle Dave's house? Every month? Like always? That phrase kept bouncing around in my skull like a pinball. I opened Facebook, went to my aunt's profile, and started scrolling. Her posts were mostly cringe minion memes and recipes with too many cans of cream of mushroom soup. But then I found it. Group photo. Big family dinner. Last month. There was my mom. My stepdad. My cousins. My uncle. My sister. Even my ex was there, and we hadn't spoken in 2 years. I wasn't in the photo. No one had told me it was happening. I clicked back. Another post. 2 months ago. Different night. Same house. Different food. Same people. Still not me. I kept going. There was a dinner photo from nearly every month stretching back over 3 years. Sometimes it was posted publicly. Sometimes it was tagged in stories I'd never clicked. Every time, smiling faces, toasts, cakes, someone inevitably holding a tiny dog in a sweater. Never once did I get an invite. Not even a, "Hey, are you free?" Not a whisper. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't a one-time oversight. This was a tradition. A secret tradition. One I'd been deliberately cut out of. I tried to rationalize it at first. Maybe I missed a message. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe my invite went to an old number. I checked my texts. Emails. Group chats. Nothing. I even searched "family dinner" in my inbox like a psychopath. Still nothing. Then I called my mom. She answered after the 3rd ring. "Hey sweetheart, everything okay?" she asked, chipper. "Yeah. Just wondering, were you at Uncle Dave's tonight?" Dead silence for 3 seconds. Then, "Oh, that? It was just something small. Last minute. You wouldn't have made it all the way out there on a weeknight anyway." That was a lie. I lived 15 minutes from Uncle Dave. "You've been doing this monthly?" She hesitated. "Well, not really. Just here and there. We don't always make it." Another lie. I had photo evidence that she never missed one. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. She filled the silence with some fake concern about my job, asked if I was eating enough vegetables, then wrapped the call with, "We'll plan something soon, okay? Just you and me." I hung up. My phone buzzed one more time. Danielle again. "Sorry again. Don't tell them I said anything. They always say not to post pics when you're not invited." Grimacing face. When I'm not invited? Not if. When? That night I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about every birthday I spent alone, every group text that went dead, every time someone said, "We missed you," like it was my fault I wasn't there. Turns out, I was never supposed to be. And now? Now I wanted to know why. I woke up the next morning feeling like I'd been hit by a truck made of gaslighting. Everything I thought I knew about my family had cracked. It was like realizing you'd been written out of your own life without being told. The script went on without you, and they didn't even bother to recast the role. I didn't go to work. I called in sick, which was mostly true. I felt nauseous and angry and weirdly hollow, like something had been ripped out of me that I didn't know I still cared about. So I did what any betrayed, emotionally constipated millennial would do. I became a digital detective. First, I combed through Facebook, Instagram, even Aunt Marcy's Pinterest board. You'd be amazed what people will post when they think the target isn't looking. The first thing I noticed was that the dinners were clockwork. Always the third Thursday of the month. Same time. Same rotating homes, Uncle Dave's, Cousin Jessica's, sometimes even my mom's house. And every post followed the same format: food shots, group hugs, captions like "Family First Red Heart," or "Nothing better than home-cooked love." Yeah. Real sweet. Until you realize the person reading them is the one being ghosted by the entire guest list. Then I found the spreadsheet. Okay, not a literal spreadsheet, but close. On my cousin Jake's Instagram stories, archived under fam heart emoji, he made this cute little tracker with who hosted dinner each month. Like it was some sacred rotation system. I screen recorded the whole highlight reel, watching as my name never once appeared. Not once. But guess whose name showed up every single time? Ryan. My brother. Even on the months I knew he was overseas, finding himself in Bali. They saved a spot for the golden child who was halfway across the world, yet didn't even text the sibling who lived in the same zip code. But the part that really made my stomach twist? It was the comments. Beneath one of the posts, some selfie with my mom and my aunt in matching aprons, holding a tray of overbaked lasagna, someone had commented, "Where's OP? Haven't seen them in a while." My cousin had replied with, "LOL, you know how they are. Always busy." Busy. That was the cover story. Not, "We didn't invite them." Not, "We haven't spoken in months." Just, "They're always busy." I hadn't been invited to a single family dinner in 3 years, and they were blaming it on me. I sat there in my hoodie, surrounded by empty tea mugs and emotional whiplash, asking myself the same question over and over. What did I do? I wasn't perfect, sure. But I wasn't the black sheep. At least I didn't think I was. I wasn't the sibling who dropped out, or the cousin who got arrested, or the uncle who cheated on his wife at a 4th of July barbecue and had to be escorted out by 2 tipsy grandmas. Long story. I was the normal one. Quiet. Stable. Employed. I sent birthday cards. I brought wine to holidays. I even babysat for free. And yet, nothing. Worse than nothing, erased. Later that day, I got a text from my sister. We weren't close, but she was one of the only family members who hadn't been posting much. So part of me, stupidly, hoped she was on my side. Her message? "Hey, heard you're upset. Just so you know, no one meant to hurt you. It's not personal." Not personal? 3 years of secret gatherings and whispering. Don't post when they're not invited. And that's what I get? I didn't respond. Instead, I opened Google Docs and started typing. A timeline. Photos. Dates. Tag evidence. Cross-checked who hosted where. Who commented. Who posted. It wasn't about revenge. Not yet. It was about facts. Receipts. Because deep down, I knew what was coming next. Someone was going to lie. Someone was going to gaslight. Someone was going to say, "Why are you overreacting? It was just dinner." And when they did, I'd have the truth in my hands. You ever walk into a conversation already knowing the answer, just to see how someone lies to you? That's what I did that weekend. I'd built up a digital wall of proof. Photos, timestamps, stories, replies, even a Google sheet labeled family dinner receipts. And yet there was still a part of me hoping for, I don't know, an apology? An explanation? Some long-lost, slightly broken version of sincerity? Spoiler, I didn't get any of that. It was Sunday. I drove to my mom's house for lunch. She'd invited me, probably damage control after Danielle let the dinner secret slip. The smell of overdone garlic bread hit me at the door like déjà vu. Same table. Same mismatched plates. Same overcompensation in the air. She greeted me with a hug, too long and too tight. Like she was trying to physically press reset on the relationship. "Glad you came," she said, avoiding my eyes. "It's been too long." "Yeah. 3 years too long, apparently." I sat. She served lasagna, salad, store-brand wine she poured like it was a peace offering. My stomach was in knots, not because of the food, but because I knew exactly what I was about to do. Midway through her second fake laugh about a show I hadn't watched, I cut in. "So," I said, "how was dinner at Uncle Dave's the other night?" Her fork stopped midair. She blinked. "Oh, it was fine. Just something small." I nodded. "Who was there?" She set the fork down, suddenly needing to wipe her hands with a napkin. "Oh, you know. The usual crowd. Not everyone. It's hard to get everyone together these days." "Lies." I tilted my head. "Because I saw photos." She froze. "I didn't know we were doing monthly dinners now," I added, keeping my tone light. "Every third Thursday, right?" She blinked again, slower this time. "It's not official. More like a casual thing. Just whoever's free." "Yeah, seems like everyone's been free for the past 36 months," I said, and this time I didn't smile. Silence. Her eyes narrowed, and I saw it, that flicker of defensiveness. Not guilt. Not remorse. Just discomfort at being caught. "You know how busy you always are," she finally said. "You never come to anything." That was her move. Shift the blame. Rewrite the narrative. "I'm always busy," I repeated. "Or was I never invited?" "Don't be dramatic." There it was. I reached into my backpack and pulled out my phone. "Because I made a whole file. Want to see it?" Her expression cracked. I showed her a few screenshots, tagged posts, story highlights, timestamps. She flinched at each one like they were punches, but still she didn't say sorry. Instead, she shook her head slowly and muttered, "This is exactly why we didn't tell you." I felt the air leave my lungs. Not because I was shocked. Because I wasn't. I left. Didn't even take leftovers. Didn't say goodbye. Back in my car, I stared at the steering wheel for a long time. I wasn't crying. Not exactly. My body was just vibrating with disappointment. The kind that settles into your bones and tells you, this isn't miscommunication. This isn't. People make mistakes. This is who they are. They chose to exclude me. Consistently. Willingly. Then blamed me for not being there. It wasn't an accident. It was a decision. That night, I got a message from my sister. "Mom's upset. You really blindsided her. Why are you trying to stir things up now? Just let it go. It was never about you." That part hit different. It was never about you. That line? That told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't the afterthought. I was the omission. And now? Now I wasn't asking for answers. I was going to get them. After the ambush at Mom's house, I didn't speak to anyone for a few days. My phone buzzed with messages, some guilt-flavored, others vaguely threatening. I ignored them all. What no one seemed to realize was that I wasn't just upset. I was curious. Because this wasn't just emotional neglect. It wasn't a, "Whoops, we forgot to include you." It was a system. A rotation. A coordinated calendar of fake smiles and casserole dishes, followed by social media scrubs and digital denial. And I was going to find out how far back it went, and why I'd been erased. It started with Uncle Dave. He's old school. Still uses email. Still has his old AOL address. Still sends out chain letter memes about angels and good fortune if you forward it to 15 friends in 5 minutes. So I sent a simple message. "Hey Dave. Can you send me the guest list from the last dinner? Just trying to update my contacts." It took him less than an hour to reply. I guess boomers really do watch their inboxes like hawks. Attached was a PDF titled, "Family Dinner Rotation Master Copy." It had names, phone numbers, email addresses, and hosting schedules going back 5 years. 5 years. I stared at the list. My name was nowhere. Not even a scratch out. Not a maybe column. Nothing. Even family members I barely knew, second cousins, ex-in-laws, someone named Rick, Karen's friend, were included. But me? I didn't exist. I looked deeper. Notes were attached to some names. Allergic to nuts. Needs low sodium options. Don't seat next to Deborah, drama. Don't invite me. I blinked. There it was. Bold, underlined, red font. Do not invite my name. Avoid unnecessary tension. I reread it 5 times. Avoid unnecessary tension? What the hell did that even mean? Then I remembered something. A moment I hadn't thought about in years. It was 4 years ago. Cousin Rachel's engagement party. Everyone was fake laughing through the speeches, half drunk on sparkling wine, and I'd made some offhand comment about Ryan, my golden boy brother, getting away with everything. How he crashed 2 cars and still got bailed out. How he lied on a job app and got promoted anyway. It wasn't a big scene. Just a little truth at the wrong table. People went quiet. Mom pulled me aside later that night and hissed. You embarrassed the family. I said. I told the truth. She said. We don't do that here. At the time, I thought it would blow over. But apparently that's when I got blacklisted. One comment. One dose of honesty. And suddenly, I was branded. Unnecessary tension. Not worth inviting. Not worth even acknowledging for half a decade of dinners. The fake smiles in public, the miss you texts, the birthday cards with a single name scrawled on the inside. They were all cover. Because behind closed doors, my family didn't just dislike me. They had organized around avoiding me. I printed the guest list. Not because I needed more proof. But because I needed something to show them. Because they were about to get together again next Thursday. And this time? I was going to be there. I circled the block twice before I parked. Uncle Dave's house hadn't changed, still the same overgrown hedges, the chipped porch swing, the string lights dangling from rusted hooks. The driveway was full. Minivans, SUVs, and Ryan's absurd Tesla, all lined up like it was Sunday brunch in suburban hell. I sat in my car for a minute, gripping the printed guest list like it was a boarding pass for a plane I was never supposed to be on. It was the 3rd Thursday of the month. Dinner night. I hadn't been invited. Again. But this time? I wasn't waiting for permission. I didn't knock. I walked right in. The door was unlocked, and laughter spilled out before I even touched the handle. The sound of forks against plates, glasses clinking, someone shouting, "Pass the bread!" Followed by, "Use a damn napkin, Mark!" I stepped into the dining room like I was walking onto a stage. 12 heads turned at once. And the silence? Immediate. Uncle Dave dropped a ladle. Someone gasped. Ryan straight up choked on a piece of breadstick. My mom's face drained of color so fast you'd think I had a knife, not a folder. "Hey," I said casually. "Smells great in here." No one spoke. Just shifting chairs, eye contact ping-pong, and the unmistakable collective panic of a group caught in their own lie. My aunt finally broke the silence. "We didn't know you were coming." "That's because I wasn't invited," I said. "For about 5 years, apparently." I held up the guest list. Uncle Dave's eyes widened. My mom looked like she wanted to disappear into the mashed potatoes. "I got curious," I continued. "Funny thing about curiosity, it usually leads to truth. Which, I hear, is unnecessary tension now." I pointed to the note in red on the list. "Do not invite me. Avoid unnecessary tension." Ryan stood up, all fake calm and eye-rolling. "Okay, man. You made your point. No need to be dramatic." I turned to him. "You think this is drama? This is math. 42 dinners. 0 invitations. 1 person excluded." He tried to laugh it off. "You're acting like this was some conspiracy." "It wasn't," I said. "Because I have the calendar. The tags. The comments about how I'm always too busy. You've been erasing me in real time for years, and pretending it was my fault I wasn't there." Someone dropped their fork. My mom finally spoke, her voice brittle. We were just trying to keep the peace. I nodded slowly. By cutting me out of the family? Classy. You always made things complicated, she added. You had opinions. You challenged people. I had boundaries, I corrected. And apparently that was enough to get blacklisted. No one said a word. I looked around the table. Cousins couldn't meet my eyes. Aunt Marcy suddenly found the bottom of her wine glass fascinating. Even the little dog in a sweater looked ashamed. So I gave them one last truth. I'm not here for forgiveness. Or explanations. I just wanted you to look me in the face and admit it. I walked around the table, slow and quiet. You built a tradition out of pretending I didn't exist. Well, here I am. Real. Breathing. Still not good enough for a casserole invite, I guess, but very much alive. Ryan muttered something under his breath. I stopped. What was that? He shook his head. Just drop it, man. You're always so dramatic. I took out my phone. Opened the Notes app. Held it up so everyone could see the list of dinner dates. The guest rotations. The red bolded line. Do not invite. You want to talk about drama? I said. You staged 42 family gatherings like I was a ghost. I'm not dramatic. I'm just done pretending. And with that, I turned around and walked out. No yelling. No flipping tables. No scenes. Just silence behind me, and the sound of truth echoing through a dining room built on denial. I didn't stay for dessert. But I left them with something far better. The taste of guilt. The group chat exploded before I even made it back to my car. I'd barely shut the door when my phone buzzed with a flood of messages. Mom, that was unfair. You humiliated me. Ryan, so you show up once in 5 years and expect a parade? Aunt Marcy, you really didn't need to make a scene, sweetheart. Cousin Jess, you could have handled that privately. Private? They erased me publicly for years. I'd been quiet, patient, civil, and they were mad that I finally pulled a chair up to a table they swore didn't have room. So I typed one message. Just one. I sent it to the entire family group chat titled, Family Red Heart Sparkles, which made me gag a little now. You all say I made a scene. I didn't. I showed up. Like a normal family member. Like someone who still thought they belong. What I walked into wasn't a dinner. It was a funeral, for honesty, loyalty, and whatever scraps of family I thought we had left. Let me tell you what it's like being on the outside of a door that was never cracked open. It's wondering if you did something wrong. It's assuming the silence is your fault. It's replaying moments in your head trying to solve a puzzle no one even let you touch. You know what the worst part was? I would have understood. If one person had called and said, hey, we're not inviting you. We have our reasons. It's not personal. I could have moved on. But you didn't even give me that. You just smiled to my face, posted your family dinners, and whispered don't post if they're not invited. I wasn't forgotten. I was deliberately excluded. And now that I've spoken up, suddenly I'm dramatic? No. I'm done. I'm not asking for an invite. I'm not hoping for a spot at the table. I've built my own. And there's room at it, for people who actually give a damn. I hit send. Silence. For about 30 minutes. Then, one by one, they started leaving the group chat. Aunt Marcy first. Then Jess. Then Mom. Ryan stayed in, of course. Probably for the drama. He sent a single emoji, face with rolling eyes. I didn't respond. What I didn't expect. The DMs. Cousin Danielle messaged me. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it had been going on that long. I honestly thought you just didn't like us anymore. Then, I'm not going next month. Not unless you're invited too. This whole thing feels gross. I blinked at the screen. Danielle, who accidentally spilled the truth, was now the first one to step away from the table. Then came Thomas, a cousin from my dad's side. The quiet one who usually lurked and sent the occasional, happy birthday, message 6 days late. I stopped going last year. Couldn't stomach it anymore. Glad you said something? 2 people. Then 3. Then 5. The family dinner list? Started shrinking. It wasn't a victory parade. But it was enough. Enough to know that maybe I wasn't the only one who noticed the rot under the surface. That maybe silence wasn't always agreement, sometimes it was just survival. But I wasn't surviving. I was finally living. You'd think after my message in the group chat, they'd stay quiet. Take the L, vanish. Ghost me like they'd done so well for years. Nope. That would have been merciful. Instead, Ryan posted a response. On Facebook. Publicly. For all the world, and all the relatives, to see. It was a long post. 4 paragraphs of self-pity wrapped in a thin layer of gaslight frosting. Some people love to play the victim, he wrote. They disappear for years, then show up out of nowhere demanding attention and accusing everyone else of shutting them out. No one's perfect, but family means forgiving and forgetting, not causing drama for clout. I sat in my apartment, staring at the screen, wondering how someone could fit that much BS into one status. Within hours, it had over 60 likes and a comment thread full of our distant relatives posting popcorn gifs, vague, praying for peace, comments, and my personal favorite. Families drift apart. It happens. Don't let toxic people take up rent in your heart. Toxic. That was the new word they'd assigned me. Not excluded. Not neglected. Just toxic. Because calling someone toxic is easier than admitting you hurt them and liked it. I wasn't going to respond. I was done. But then Aunt Sheila chimed in. The same Aunt Sheila who once told me I was too sensitive for asking why I was the only kid who didn't get a stocking at Christmas one year. Her comment? If people knew the whole story, they'd understand why he wasn't invited. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. I snapped. I didn't post a rant. I didn't go off in all caps. I uploaded screenshots. From the group chat. From the guest list. From old Facebook comments they thought I'd forgotten. I blacked out names, but left just enough context. Then I captioned it. Here's what happens when you call out family for excluding you. They don't apologize. They try to erase the truth. But I saved it. This isn't drama. This is documentation. The post didn't just circulate, it caught fire. Within 24 hours, my post was reposted to Reddit. Someone threw it on r/insane parents, then r/family drama. TikTok narrators got a hold of it. People were tagging me in videos I didn't even make. One creator read my entire group chat message out loud over sad piano music and said, "This is your sign to set your own table. Blood isn't always thicker, sometimes it's just messier." The comments? Thousands. This hit too close. I thought I was the only one. Imagine excluding your own kid and then being mad they noticed. Suddenly, people were messaging me, strangers, saying thank you. Sharing their own stories. Inviting me to their own chosen family dinners. I didn't ask for a movement. But I'd accidentally become the face of it. Meanwhile, the fallout inside my family was nuclear. Ryan deleted his post. Mom unfriended me. Aunt Sheila blocked me. But guess who didn't? Danielle. Thomas. Even cousin Jess, who had originally told me to handle it privately, messaged me. You were right. I was just scared to admit it. I'm sorry. That made 3 people. 3 people who stepped away from a table built on silence. I hadn't just walked out. I'd taken the door off the hinges. And people were finally seeing the mold. 3 months later, it's the 3rd Thursday of the month again. Dinner night. But this time, I'm not waiting by my phone. I'm not scrolling social media with that knot in my stomach, wondering if someone will slip and tag me. I'm not looking at a group chat that called itself Family Red Heart Sparkles, while it silently deleted me one plate at a time. This time? I'm hosting. It started small. Just Danielle and Thomas at first. 2 folding chairs. A homemade pasta that barely held together. A couple of beers and the kind of laughter that feels like warmth, not the kind you force for photos. But then Jess asked to join. Then my college roommate who said, "Dude, your story hit me in the chest." Then 2 coworkers who always assumed I had a big, tight-knit family, until I showed them what was actually behind the curtain. And now? There are 10 of us. Not all related. Not all the same. but real. People who show up. People who ask how your day was and wait for the answer. People who pass the garlic bread without needing you to earn it. I call it leftover night. Not because the food's recycled, but because that's what we are, the leftovers. The ones who didn't make the guest list. The ones written off as too sensitive, too distant, too much trouble. But you know what? We're the best part. We're the part with flavor. With bite. The stuff you come back for the next day, when the noise is gone and all that's left is comfort. Mom hasn't spoken to me since the Reddit post hit 2 million views. Ryan's still pretending I don't exist. Probably thinks the world runs on block buttons and passive-aggressive posts. I don't care anymore. They had their table. Their traditions. Their silence. I used to think being left out was the worst feeling in the world. But I was wrong. Staying in a place you're not respected? That's worse. The best part? Tonight, we're starting our own tradition. On the last Thursday of every month, we gather. Everyone brings a dish. No one needs an invitation. At the center of the table is a placard. Simple. Wooden. Etched with one sentence. Everyone eats. No politics. No pettiness. No passive-aggressive. We didn't know you'd want to come. If you're here, you're meant to be. If you left a table that made you feel small, there's a chair for you at this one. It's not revenge. It's not even about forgiveness. It's about choosing the people who choose you back. So yeah, I was left out of 42 dinners. But tonight? I'm hosting my first one. And every seat is full.